G'day guys, Michael from Gravel Pit Hire here. Today I'm going to give you a couple of tips on using the mini excavator. Might help if you check out some of our other videos first. We've got one which can actually show you all the controls on the mini excavator and what each lever does. But this one here is going to just show you a few tips on how to actually get the job done. One of the most important things to think about when using a mini excavator is the positioning. So a mini excavator is a lot smaller, which means you've got to think about your weight distribution and your center of gravity. Ideally, you want to have the area that you're digging directly in line with the machine. Have your blade out the front, lower it down so it puts all the weight of the front on that blade, so then it'll act as a bit of a stabilizer. Stability is really important on a mini excavator, and I'll show you why. So this is what happens if you try to dig with the excavator positioned sideways. If you watch the weight distribution, you'll see it as soon as it starts to penetrate the ground, it already starts to tilt back. Now it's not easy, but it's definitely not impossible to tip one of these things if you're doing something silly. So from here, we need to reposition the digger. Whenever driving the digger, what you want to try and avoid is a zero turn. So in other words, when either one track is moving and the other one is not, or when you're trying to spin in opposite directions on each track. So I'm sure I'll talk about how the tracks work a little bit here. Most mini excavators have a steel belted rubber track, kind of like you would see on a passenger vehicle tyre. You got one drive gear at the back, and then a few idler pulleys and gears along the way. This drive gear is independent on each side. As you move the lever, it obviously turns the gear in whichever direction you're pushing the lever. It's important to try and avoid moving one track without the other, because what that can do is put too much sidewards load on this track and can cause it to come off the pulleys. And look, if that ever does happen, it's not the end of the world. You can normally get it back on. You should try and get those teeth on the right side of that gear like this, usually with a bit of a crowbar or a pry bar. So in this situation, instead of risking that, best thing to do would be to reverse back and drive forward to reposition. So we're back in the right position. I've got the boom out the front, I've got the blade down, and I've got the engine at full RPM. So you can see here it's nice and stable. The extra stability gives you a bit more penetration so you can dig deeper. And as you lift it up, try and keep the load close towards the digger before you empty it out. Just again, trying to keep that center of gravity and that weight distribution as close as you can to the machine. Center of gravity is the key. So even when you're driving, try and keep your bucket as close to the machine as you can. Keep that center of gravity nice and close. And that's it guys, stay safe out there and get that project done.